Greetings and welcome back, everyone. This is The Angry Chicken, specifically episode 339. I'm Garrett Weinzerl, joined as always by Jocelyn Carney. And Jocelyn, you and I are both playing the role of leper gnomes this week because we got back from BlizzCon yesterday and we both have the con crud.
I feel icky.
So icky. The only problem is we don't have an advantage. We're not dealing 2 more damage to our opponents in Hearthstone when we die or whatever. This isn't.
I feel like I might though.
Yeah.
Die, that is.
I feel like I might die. Yeah, it's not helping me win games. That's for sure. However, Joss, I did play my first game of Battlegrounds before the show. I got second place.
I played a couple of rounds too. It was so fun.
I haven't won one yet, although I've only played 2 games. I played it once at BlizzCon, and I played it here. I got second place both times. So
nice.
Yeah.
You're doing better than me then. I did terribly. Well, it's funny because we'll talk about Battlegrounds a little bit more in depth later on in the show, but there's kind of like early game strats and you have to transition. And I think I wasn't transitioning enough because I was like first place, having taken no damage, lost no rounds for the first like 8 or 9 rounds. And then all of a sudden I lost 3 rounds in a row and everyone had higher quality minions than I did. So then they were dealing like 15 to 20 damage per round. And so I went from first to last second last in literally 3 rounds.
Yes, you haven't played an auto battler before. Welcome.
I have not.
You are discovering what most of us discovered when we first started playing auto chess, which is you can only go cheap aggression for so long before everyone just out qualities your ass.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's part of the game, which it's going to be fun. This is going to if we only talked Battlegrounds, it would be a bit of a reset for the Angry Chicken because I've played quite a bit of auto chess and Underlords. Haven't really dabbled in TFT, and you've played absolutely 0 of it. So we will be able to.
The BlizzCon demo was my first time ever playing any auto battler, and it was Hearthstone's auto battler. So
yeah. So it'll be fun. We'll get to recapture a little bit of the early days of the Angry Chicken. As you rapidly, I think, will probably get brought up to speed on the strategies you should be playing in an auto battler. Although there's some unique things to Battlegrounds, and we will talk about that. However, before we kind of get into the meat of today's episode, we do have some housekeeping to take care of, which means top of the show announcements, which means we're giving you free stuff. That's right. We have 9 packs, nine packs, but 9 standard bundles for the upcoming Descent of Dragons. It did turn out to be dragons, Jocelyn. We really went out on a limb with that Dragon Blight teaser and totally called it. Actually, I'm going to hats off to you, Joss, because I got in the notes last week and I'm going to peel the curtain back, let people see how we make the show for a second. Cause I don't remember if you started the Galakrond talk or if I started the Galakrond talk on last week's episode, but whoever started the talk, Jocelyn, you were the one that actually thought to add it into the notes. And we ended up going deeper than I really expected getting into Galakrond, but you and I are both Warcraft lore nerds. So I guess I should have saw it coming. And that so you could not have hit the nail more on the head.
I think this might be better than Kobolds, I'll be honest. I basically called 5 cards in the set by accident.
Yeah. I would say the only way either of us could have been more on the nose is if we somehow divined that there would be 5 variants of Galakrond. I mean, technically there's 3 and 3 times 5 is 15 variants, but I don't think we had any chance of doing that. But I'm gonna just go ahead and pat you on the back because damn girl, damn.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was a hell of a call. So yeah, Descent of Dragons will be the next Hearthstone expansion, and Blizzard has seen fit to send 9 standard bundles our way for Descent of Dragons. That's the standard bundle. It's $50. It's going to get you Battlegrounds early access, which is why we're running it right now, and we're going to end this contest at the end of the week so that whoever wins, we can get you into those Battlegrounds as early as possible. It's also going to give you 60 Descent of Dragons card packs, the Shattering card back, and 1 random Descent of Dragons Golden Legendary. You're going to get all of that for free if you win our contest, and we've done a few giveaways by now, Jocelyn, but in case everyone forgets how we run our Gleam giveaways, why don't you remind them?
Sure. So you guys can go over to Gleam and you can enter in 7 different ways. So there's some following us over on Twitch, some on Twitter, going and checking out A Move on YouTube. Each one of those counts as an entry towards a bundle. You can only win one time, though, so do keep that in mind. But so it's open from right now, when you're hearing the sound of my voice, until noon Eastern on Friday. So you guys will be in and ready to go for Battlegrounds this weekend, which you should all go try because it's really, really fun.
I'm loving it. By the way, everybody, say goodbye to my ladder ranking.
I don't know if I'm ever going to play ladder again.
I wouldn't go that far. I'll definitely play ladder again, but it probably for like the next 2 months, my ladder ranking is going to just take a dump. Basically until I think Descent of Dragons comes out. I think, unless like I don't know, Evolve gets nerfed. I think I'm good.
I stand by. They are not going to do anything. They'll just end the event. That's what's will happen. It'll just be out of standard.
I mean, at this point, I think it would almost be like a little bit of insult to injury to like, well, the finals are over. Let's figure out what we do with Evolve.
Yeah.
At this point, just let it run its course. It's fine. I just want to play Battlegrounds. I mean, that said, not everyone got in, so maybe do something about Evolve a little bit.
Nothing will happen.
I agree. But go enter, win yourself some card packs. And thanks to Blizzard for sending those over. And also thanks to those of you supporting us over at patreon.com/TAC. We've got so much to talk about. I just wanted to thank you right up front, everybody who's supporting the podcast. If you like Angry Chicken, you want to support us, the Patreon's the best way to do so. And to our most recent patrons, Christopher JB and Matt P. Thank you so much. When we travel to BlizzCon, it is very expensive. So thank you for the support because you're seriously the reason we get to go. So thank you for the support, everyone. And now, without further ado, here is this week's Hearthstone News.
Good news, everyone!
Obviously, Descent of Dragons is the big one, but we are going to do it a little bit different because when we get to strategy for this week, we're going to dive deep into all of the new mechanics and then also do a spotlight on Invoke and all of the Invoke cards and Galakrond cards that have been revealed so far, which means the other biggest news this week, I don't know, you would probably have to pit Hearthstone Esports against Battlegrounds and then decide a winner, but it's our show, so we're going to say it's the fact that Lion has become the first ever woman to be the Hearthstone champion and also the first ever woman to win any BlizzCon finals, like of any Blizzard esport.
And the first ever Chinese representative to win the Hearthstone Championship. So she checked a lot of boxes with this win at BlizzCon this year.
All the firsts.
Mm-hmm.
All the firsts. I mean, this was just incredible. I sadly had to leave at the end of game 2 of the finals to go do a last minute interview that came through in my inbox. Turns out I only missed one more game.
Yeah, she clean swept in the finals, which is crazy. She had a 7-0 run to qualify for BlizzCon. And then she went 2-0, 2-0 in her first 2 matches. Casey was the only one able to take games off of her. She went 3-2 against Casey. And then she swept Bloodyface in the final 3-0. So it was a dominant performance.
Yeah, absolutely. I gotta say, in a weird way, I'm almost glad I had to walk away because I think I had one of the more unique experiences of learning of Lion's victory. Because I came out of my interview And it's a pretty sterile environment, as you know, Jocelyn. When we do BlizzCon interviews, you're really off the beaten path, and you're in these little carpeted kind of cubicle things they set up, and you have to talk kind of quiet because there's usually like 8 other carpeted cubicle things in the same main area, and they don't have ceilings on it, so your voice carries, and it's echoey as hell. Doesn't matter how much carpet they throw in there. And so I come out of that extremely sterile environment. And I just round the corner of the media room because at this point I am on fumes and I need another thing of caffeine. And everyone is losing their mind. And as a matter of fact, you know who the first person I saw when I got out of that interview was our mutual friend Chanman. And he just looks ecstatic. Like the dude just saw history in the making. And at first it didn't even occur to me because I'm like, all right, I got to go up and scan my thing to get in. And as you know, I was having technical difficulties with my scanner all weekend. And I'm behind Chanman in line and we're both like, boop, boop. And Chanman just has this grin on his face. I'm like, hey man, how's the count going for you? He's like, dude, did you hear? And I'm like, oh, that's right. The finals ended. And he's like, it was amazing. Everyone's crying. I'm still like, it was so... And then I got inside and a bunch of our friends from the Hearthstone team who, probably just got interviews themselves and weren't allowed to actually be there in person. We're watching it on the feeds in the room and they're all crying and everyone's cheering. It was the loudest I heard the media room the whole weekend. Everyone was talking and, it was just insane. And so I had her Victor's speech relayed to me by probably like 4 or 5 different people. Some were folks like us that make content and others were Team 5 employees. And it actually wasn't until last night that I finally got a chance to rewatch it. And if you missed it, it is still very much worth watching. My God, we have had some ups and downs, to put it mildly, as far as the Hearthstone esports are concerned this year. But what a high this is. And I also just kind of want to props to the production team because that winner's interview, they really gave it time to breathe.
Yeah, and that was one thing, watching her, she was me because unlike you, I was watching it live happening. I wasn't actually down in the Hearthstone esports area because unfortunately I had to work this weekend. So I was sitting up in the press room typing up articles and I'd been watching all of her matches because I literally started writing an article about 2 hours, maybe not quite 2 hours, but as soon as she qualified for her spot, I was like, okay, I'm going to start writing this article. And if I have to, write one for whoever gets into the finals and beats her, then so be it. But I am going to be super optimistic. I'm going to assume that she wins and I'm going to write this article about how, everything she's done, what she accomplished, what her road through BlizzCon was like. So I was watching back all of her old matches and everything else and pulling out highlights and stuff and going through. And then I had it on in the background, the finals on in the background. And it's like, oh my God, she's up 1-0. She's up 2-0. Oh my God, I think it's going to happen. And when she actually won, I just start I'm sitting in the press room bawling my eyes out. And I'm like, oh my God, there's all these guys behind me speaking Russian. They're probably talking about me and my stupid crying, but I don't even care because this is amazing. And it was just completely overwhelming. And I can't even read her victory speech out loud because it's just I feel so heard. Everything she said was just so true and on the nose. And yeah, it was an absolutely incredible moment. It's so meaningful.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people are saying, her gender shouldn't matter. But guess what, guys? It effing matters. Deal with it.
Yeah. It's I understand where that comes. I think for a lot of people that comes from a place of we wish we lived in a world where things were so equal that we didn't need to point that out, but we don't live in that world.
Exactly.
I get where it's coming from.
And it's really hard for those of us who don't have people to necessarily look up to who are our gender. I was going to say who fit who we are or whatever, but just not being able to have a person in a position of winning a BlizzCon championship that is our gender and represents our journey It is different. It is hard. And this is very meaningful because of that. I'm getting all choked up.
As you should.
I'm already like all stuffed up from being sick anyways. I don't need this on top of it, but
well, if we need to pause recording so you can like
no, it's fine.
Congest. It was absolutely incredible. And again, like my weird like robot emotions of having to work BlizzCon, like again, you know this, you cover multiple Blizzard games, like things happen at BlizzCon and you're like, that was amazing, oh my god, okay, what's next on the schedule, crap, I'm late, I gotta go, and you just gotta like, all right, I'll get hyped later, let's put that away in the back of my brain. Because as I was moving through the media room, I come back around and I get to you, and by the time I made it to you, I was already thinking about the next thing I got to do. I wasn't thinking about it anymore. And you still got tears in your eyes. And I'm like, Jocelyn, are you okay? Oh, you idiot, Garrett. Yeah, duh, lion. Yeah. So it was, I mean, the feeling there was, I tweeted, it was absolutely electric. There was like not a dry eye in the house. And God, I've been going since 2010. I've seen a lot of finals at BlizzCon. I've never seen any affect the crowd in this way. And so I'm so glad I feel so privileged that I was there, even though like at the time I was doing it. I was being a privileged little ass and complaining like, oh, of course, my last minute interview comes in right at the Hearthstone finals. I got to leave. Doesn't matter. I'm still glad I was on location because that was insane. It was absolutely crazy kind of coming out and experiencing the aftershocks of Lion winning, and then watching it last night. I mean, her winner's interview is definitely one for the history books, and like props to the production crew, props to Frodan. I thought the way Frodan handled the interview and his little quip.
And the translator. Oh my God. It's like, I don't even know. I don't know if she was, using the same translator all weekend, if they had a relationship behind the scenes or whatever, but like the translator was right there, like comforting her and like trying to just like was like listening to the little things that she was saying and like letting everybody know the stuff they should know and kind of keeping quiet the stuff that was just like what I can only imagine was, okay, just give me a minute sort of thing. So, like she just did such a good job. And oh man, like I said, I know I can't get through Lion's like winner's remarks, winner's statement, whatever you want to call it, without literally crying. So I'm not going to do it. But if you guys haven't seen the clip, I did write an article about this for Heroes Hearth. You guys can go and check it out. The clip's at the bottom, and it's just incredibly inspirational. So I recommend you go watch it.
Yeah, absolutely. And so with that out of the way, shall we talk about how Evolve totally overshadowed the entire tournament?
No.
Okay.
I'm done talking about Evolve. Like it was a fun tournament to watch. It was really good. And I mean, there were good rolls and bad rolls, and it is what it is.
Yeah. So the head of Hearthstone Esports said that they are looking at multiple formats for the next year, which I think is good. And I don't necessarily think Conquest should not be one of them. I really like Conquest, but I do think
I like Shielded Conquest a lot.
Yeah, but I do think Best of 3 should die in a fire.
Best of 3. I mean, like I said, this isn't to take away anything from Lion's victory or anything like that, but Best of 3 at BlizzCon, just why? Oh, vomit, gross. I hate it. It's the worst. Just looking at it and how it changed like the kind of competition, like we were talking about with Deck Tech last week about having, basically 2 different formats within BlizzCon and how you build a 4-deck lineup with 2 different formats like that. I mean, oh man, I don't know. It never felt like none of the early wins really felt good. It felt like it finally became a competition when we got to the semifinals and we hit best of 5. And I'm like, that's not how this should feel.
Yeah. And then, lucky rolls still happen, which is unfair to bring up for any of the players, I think, because they all made it this far through a lot of competition. So this is still the product of consistency.
Yeah. Well, and the fewer games that you have, then the more potent those bad or good rolls are, like the more impact your RNG is going to have, the less games you play. So, I mean, yeah, a best of 3 just, I don't think belongs anywhere in Hearthstone, to be honest, unless they're going to get rid of all RNG except for the RNG from drawing your deck, which we know that's never going to happen. So, best of 3 has no place in Hearthstone as far as I'm concerned.
No, I like the RNG for the most part. There have been offenders in Hearthstone's history. Evolve is currently one of those offenders. But yeah, just low game numbers really detracts from the weight of the competition. If nothing else, I'm trying my best not to focus on Evolve as much, because I think really the format was the biggest issue here. Because what I don't want the team to stop experimenting with these mid expansion events. I think they're the single greatest achievement of Hearthstone in 2019, in my opinion.
I love the events too. And I like maybe they shouldn't have brought the cards back that they brought back or what, but I want to see them keep doing it because I think it's a really interesting way to shake things up. Like whether you're going to buff stuff or introduce new cards or, bring things back or push things out, whatever you decide to do, I think keep doing it because 2019 was a lot of fun because we got these shakeups halfway through expansions when normally we're sitting and waiting 3 to 4 months before we actually see things change. So I very much like that they've done that, and I want to see them continue. And I don't think that the mistakes, air quotes, of Evolve and like Pocket Galaxy are really and truly reasons to stop doing it.
Agreed. Back to last week, just let me have both. Put the event out, and if something is clearly busted, address it as soon as humanly possible. So, anyways, there's that. Obviously, all the VODs are up online. You do not need a virtual ticket to catch up on the competition. And if you did not watch Lion's victory, do it. Because I already knew the outcome. I could not have been more spoiled, and it was still worth going back and revisiting it to actually see it play out in full. So it is esports history for sure. So go check it out, and congrats again to Lion. Can we get Lion and her translator on the show? Is that possible? We've never done an interview on the show with a translator, but damn it, I want to talk to Lion. That would be amazing.
I do too. That would be really, really cool. I don't know if we could or if she does it, but
yeah. Anyone know how to get a hold of Lion's translator? Please and thank you. But let's move on to Battlegrounds, because that was I think arguably the biggest surprise of BlizzCon. Period. Diablo 4 was leaked. Shadowlands was leaked. Overwatch 2 was leaked, and apparently, after talking to a bunch of our buddies on Team 5, Battlegrounds was leaked, and no one believed it. So much, and also, I didn't even see this potential leak that wasn't believed.
I didn't see this either. Apparently, it was a Reddit post. I didn't see it. I didn't hear anybody talking about it, probably because anyone who did see it was like, this isn't true. But, I mean, I was expecting someone at Blizzard, like I expected when we were talking about new IPs. This is kind of what I expected. I expected something in the auto battler genre, but I thought possibly like built in the Heroes engine or something, because that's kind of what we've seen, right, from the existing offerings. I was not expecting an auto battler to come out as a new mode in Hearthstone. I was kind of expecting an auto battler and a new Hearthstone mode, just not all smooshed together.
Yeah, my highest bet would have been in the Warcraft 3 Reforged engine, because that's their new shiny engine.
Well, fair enough. But you know what I mean? Like the RTS stuff.
Yeah,
whatever background engine it used, I expected the RTS. And the only reason I say Heroes is because Heroes pulls from all the different like Blizzard franchises. So I was like, Heroes makes the most sense, because then it's just everybody all together in an auto battler. That's what I was thinking it would be.
Yeah. So it's basically like Auto Chess or TFT if you played either of those, or Dota Underlords, which is basically just Auto Chess because the Auto Chess team didn't want to work with Valve, so Valve said, F you, we'll make our own. I've played quite a bit of the OG Auto Chess when it was a Dota 2 mod. I also have played quite a bit of the Auto Chess that is properly Auto Chess, made by the people that made the original mod and then put it out on mobile devices. And I played Dota Underlords. I have not played TFT. am a hipster and not a big Riot fan. So haven't played TFT. That being said, this was a huge surprise to me when they came back from announcing Descent of Dragons and Ben Thompson's still up there talking. I was just like, oh my God, they got something else to announce. And little tiny part of me was like, oh, maybe it's going to be tournament mode. Maybe it's going to finally happen. But this floored me. I was really surprised that this was what they announced, and we both played it. I really like it. It sounds like you really like it.
I love it. I love it so much.
Yeah.
And again, it might be the kind of thing where I've never played an auto battler before, so maybe I just absolutely love this mode or this like style of game and I just didn't realize. But the fact that it's like in Hearthstone and uses cards that I'm familiar with, oh man, I love it.
Yeah. And so it's called Battlegrounds. It's found under the new modes button, which is where arena is now tucked away. There's now, instead of there being an arena button, there's a modes button. You click on it, and there is at the moment 2 options, one for Battlegrounds, one for arena. The closed beta starts as of today, recording it Tuesday, November 5th. However, again, it's a closed beta. If you win one of our giveaways, you're going to get into it. Anyone that attended BlizzCon or had the virtual ticket also got in. And then open beta starts next Tuesday. So not that long of a wait for open beta. The way it works is there's 8 players per lobby, and there's 2 phases, as there basically is in existing auto battlers. If you're familiar with the genre, there's a shopping phase, which is called the recruit phase in Battlegrounds, and a combat phase. And you're using actual cards from Hearthstone for the most part. There's 10 unique cards to Battlegrounds, but all of the other cards that you are recruiting in that recruit phase to kind of build your board to go into combat phase to actually fight are existing Hearthstone cards. So if you have been playing Hearthstone and you have some knowledge about the cards that exist within Hearthstone, if you see a Tidecaller, it's a Tidecaller as it appears in the game of Hearthstone. So your existing card knowledge, there are some wild cards, is worth something here in Battlegrounds, which is something that I was really excited about.
Yeah, and I thought it was really cool that like all the stuff, so like start and end of turn effects, like battle cries, death rattles, all of that stuff still works. So you only get the battle cry like when you play the card. So you essentially like recruit a minion from the other side of the tavern. So you grab a minion and you pull it into your hand. Then it becomes a card in your hand that you play. So that's when you get your battle cry effects. And so I mean, so far it seems to me death rattles are the most potent, I guess, of all of the effects, just because when you get a death rattle, like that happens combat phase after combat phase after combat phase versus like a battle cry that happens, like I say, once when you play it out of your hand. So death rattles seem really popular and really powerful right now. We'll have to see if it changes, but I've only played a couple of rounds, but it's super freaking fun. The other thing we should mention that wasn't included in the I guess demo that we tried at BlizzCon was there is a tutorial, and after playing through the tutorial I was like, oh, okay, this all makes so much more sense. But it does take about 10 or 15 minutes to play the tutorial, so they didn't want to slow things down at BlizzCon, but it's actually a really good tutorial. It explains quite a lot of stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. I can tell you, Jocelyn, when I started playing the original mod auto chess for Dota 2, there was no tutorial whatsoever. I think I watched a Trump video, a Crypt video, and I still wasn't quite sure on how the hell to play the game. So, having a tutorial in there is great. And this is quite similar and quite different from existing auto battlers. The big thing is the fact that we are using cards, and that brings with it a lot of kind of unique twists on this game mode, because if you played auto chess or Underlords or TFT, you were essentially drafting heroes for certain costs, and you can put them out on the board, or you can bring them back and kind of reserve them for the sake of talking to a Hearthstone audience, what that game's version of a hand. Those games aren't actual card battlers. You're using like actual MOBA units, but you can put them on the battlefield as well as take them back off and put them back in your hand. You cannot put cards back in your hand once you've deployed them on the battlefield in Hearthstone Battlegrounds. You can still sell them back to the shop, which is, by the way, Bartender Bob.
Yes, it is Bartender Bob. Just Bartender Bob.
Yeah.
There really is no robot bartender here.
Well, you can play as Bartendotron. It's one of the bosses that you draft at the beginning, which I don't want to get into that yet. Let me finish talking about how this is different. But what that allows you to do, and also if you once you play your first Battlecry minion, I think it will become extremely obvious why you can't put these minions back in your hand, because Hearthstone card rules apply. If you draft a Battlecry minion, if you buy one from Bob and then you deploy it, its Battlecry happens during the preparation phase, like while you're assembling your board. And so if you could put it back in your hand, you could just keep throwing it out, putting it back, throwing it out, putting it back. So instead, there's this cool strategy you do with Battlecry minions where you buy them, you play them, and then you just sell them right back. Because who gives a crap? I already got the awesome Battlecry, unless it's the early stages of the game. Because the Hearthstone 7 minion board size is in effect. So, early game, I'll have a Battlecry minion kind of hanging out just for extra damage, extra health on board. But as we get in the later game, I'm constantly just buying Battlecry minions, getting that Battlecry, selling it right back to Bob. Here you go, buddy. I know I didn't get all my gold back, but I don't care.
Yeah, when you sell back, so every minion is 3 gold. Every minion you sell back gets you 1 gold. So
yes, yeah, exactly. So you're losing 2 gold every time. You're kind of doing that. The other thing that's interesting, you mentioned Deathrattle Synergy is another really kind of simple strategy to have in the back of your mind when you enter Battlegrounds for the first time, because we have multiple tribes that are draftable in Battlegrounds. We have beasts, we have mechs, we have murlocs, and we have demons. I don't think we have dragons yet. There's not enough cards in here for dragons. There are cards that buff dragons, but there's no dragons to buff.
As far as I know, yeah, you're correct.
Yeah, and that's because it's like Zubat, which buffs multiple minion types.
Right.
So that's another thing to kind of keep in the back of your mind. I got second place in my very first game at BlizzCon by just drafting every damn Murloc I could find. I was who the hell's the paladin? George the Fallen. His hero power gives you, like, you can spend X amount of gold to give a divine shield to a minion, and it's permanent as long as you keep that minion. Right. If it will fall off in combat, but then the next round that divine shield just comes back. You don't have to spend the gold again. And I ruffled some feathers with my fellow BlizzCon players as we were leaving, and I secured my second place victory. One guy goes, "Oh, you were the divine shield Murlocs." Like, yeah, that was me. Sorry,
but you weren't actually sorry.
I mean, I don't want to make people have a bad time at BlizzCon, but I also like winning. So, like 1/16 sorry. Let's put it that way.
A little bit.
So that's kind of a basic rundown of minions and synergy. But let's also talk about the bosses that would become our hero that we play as, because there's, I believe, 40 of them. Oh no, 24. 24 unique bosses. So when you load into Battlegrounds, it's like a little mini arena pick. 3 of these bosses are shown. You can hover over them.
Well, 2 bosses are shown.
2?
It's only 3. It's only 3 if you have bought enough packs from the current expansion, so Descent of Dragons. If you have 10, 20, or 30 packs, you actually upgrade your Battlegrounds experience. So you can purchase those packs either with gold or with real money. So for you and I, where we have already purchased the pre-purchase standard bundle, we've already unlocked everything. But I believe the second unlock is the ability to upgrade from 2 to 3 choices at the start of the match.
I didn't know that was a thing. I completely skimmed over that part when preparing for the show. And also,
the first unlock is, I think, increased stats, which you don't actually see during closed beta. So it says it's opening up, I think, with open beta next week. Then you get the 2 heroes to 3 heroes choice. And then I can't remember what the third thing is. I probably should have looked it up before the show. But yeah, there's a third thing that you unlock for the extra 10 card packs. So again, you can buy them with real money or gold. It doesn't matter. You just have to accumulate them on your account.
Yes. And to maybe stimmy some comments, we've been home for less than 24 hours and we are horribly ill. We apologize.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I didn't know that because I've already pre-ordered all of the packs. So, yeah. So there's but
yeah, when you actually go into Battlegrounds, if you guys are curious, when you go into the Battleground mode, then there's a button over on the left-hand side and it'll show you. So for me, it says like 3 out of 3 unlocked. And if you hit the button, it'll show you what it is. So it's it'll show you your progress of things that you've unlocked if you don't buy the pre-order bundle. So, but anyone who gets the pre-order bundle, the standard bundle from the TAC giveaway that we talked about off the top of the show, you guys will all fully unlock everything that's available in Battlegrounds just by redeeming those codes. So you could do that too.
Yeah. Good luck to you.
Just win the giveaway.
If we could give away a standard bundle to every listener of the Angry Chicken, we would. But except you, Fred. I know who you are. You know who you are listening, Fred.
Poor Fred.
Fred did nothing to me. I just picked a random name out of my head. Yeah. So each boss, which I wish they just call them heroes because I just want to call it a hero because it's what we're picking to be our surrogate for this game we're about to go into and dictates the hero power that we get.
And I'm a hero. I guess I don't mind being a boss either.
I mean, they are like known
I really
bosses
stop and think about it.
from single player, but just call it a hero. I just want to call it a hero. Like Ragnaros is one of them. And like Ragnaros, you can pay 2 gold. So 2 of the currency that you also use to buy minions and also refresh the store and upgrade the store and things we haven't even talked about yet. You pay 2 gold, and at the start of your next combat, you deal 8 damage to 2 random enemy minions, which seems kind of broken in the early game and really doesn't do much of anything at all in the late game, I noticed. Because 8 damage doesn't really count for a lot once you hit late game. And in some cases, you hit a death rattle that just makes things so much worse for you right off the bat than had you not done that. But, it's random, and it's Ragnaros, so it's working as intended. But we're not going to go through every single damn boss and talk about the hero's powers, but that's essentially how it works, is you draft a boss to play as at the beginning of the game, starting at 2, and eventually upgrading to 3 options. Obviously, you're going to have a bit of a leg up with a 3rd option, because you might be able to get something with a hero power that works better for what you're trying to go for. Like Giant Fin would have been nice with my Murloc synergy, but I never had Giant Fin offered to me. 1 gold at the start of next combat. All of your minions get Deathrattle summon a 1/1 Murloc. Did I just say 1/1?
Yeah, I knew what you meant. I played against a Ragnaros today that dealt 8 damage. I don't know how many coins it cost, but dealt 8 damage to 2 enemy minions. And I was like, that is overpowered. I don't even care if it costs 4 or 5. It's too much, too many damages.
Yeah. And so that's a way where it seems very unique to me because, I play a lot of auto chests. You don't, there's no kind of permanent thing you get at the start of the game, no choice you make right at the beginning that is a thing that allows you to manipulate the game forever. Like it's a thing you will have. It makes obvious sense to me, though, because I distinctly remember when Hearthstone was unveiled, looking at hero powers and going, oh, wow, you're going to have a permanent thing you can always do that's not dependent on draw from your deck in a card game. That's crazy. So I'm glad that hero powers are here for Hearthstone's take on the auto battler, because right off the bat, that's this added layer that auto chess doesn't have, and I really like it. I think it's cool. It's also random because it's like, well, I could go for Murloc synergy with Giant Fin, but I don't draft Murlocs, but it's still worth something. I'm still getting a death rattle spawn 1/1, so it's cool. I like that a lot. Would you like me to very rapidly explain to you, Jocelyn, the one thing that seems missing that kind of boggles my mind, and I can't decide if I like it or hate it?
Sure.
You can't look at the other 7 players' boards during the game. The only time you see what they have is if you happen to get matched up against them. And in both Auto Chess and Underlords, it's a big part of the game is that you're able to just at any time look at the other boards of the other players so you can see how they're drafting. Because if you've never played an auto battler before, Yeah, and same is true here in Hearthstone Battlegrounds. When Bartender Bob offers those minions during your preparation, that is a shared pool. So, Jocelyn, if I start drafting Murlocs, if I start drafting all the Tide Collars I can find, the likelihood of you finding a Tide Collar drops dramatically, and it may even eventually become impossible for you to ever find one because all of the Tide Collars have been ripped from the pool.
Oh, is that how it works? Because I didn't know that. So I just kept re-rolling my tavern and I'm like, why can't I find any demons? Like, I'm literally Jiraxis. Like, what I need is demons, and there were none. And I'm like, I don't understand at all. So it's because it's from, like, everybody's getting the same stuff.
It's an honest-to-God draft, which is something we have not seen in Hearthstone. It's just that it's not a draft mode. It's an auto-battler, but auto-battler has a draft element in the way that you draft your units.
Okay.
So that's really cool.
So that's good to know. That's probably why I've been losing horribly now that we're actually on a ladder. Like, now that it's live, now that everyone's in closed beta, the rounds that I played today, I did really poorly. I think I came like 7th and 5th, and that was why I was sitting there as Jiraxis re-rolling, trying to find demons, so spending all my coins on re-rolls. And I was like, what the heck is going on? Like, this is a really crappy power. And it's probably because people started drafting demons, seeing that I was playing a demon buffing hero. So,
or they were just going for it themselves.
Or going for it. Sure.
It's very early in the beginning for multiple players to kind of be drafting for the same strategy. And then the deeper down the rabbit hole you go, especially when you're trying to find higher quality but also rarer minions, you start to kind of plateau. Suddenly your synergy isn't working for you anymore, and that can help kind of dictate a shift in your strategy. We'll go really deep on this in the future, I'm sure, and I apologize, I'm getting a little more in the weeds here than I planned to, but I'm just so excited about this mode.
Yeah, no, this mode was really, really fun, and I'm glad that I know that now. The one thing I did realize kind of later on, once I looked into this a little bit more, is that the leaderboard on the left-hand side is really important. So you can't see the board, you're right, but you can see, like, hover over heroes. It tells you who you're going to be facing next. You can hover over the heroes and it tells you, like, the rank of their tavern, the last 3 results that they've had, so who they went up against and how much damage they dealt to that hero. So there's a little bit of information available. It's just not so much like, this is exactly what they've got, sort of thing.
Yep. And so I'm not going to go any deeper than that. We'll do a proper strategy on Battlegrounds soon.
Right.
Maybe that's what we'll do next week, since it's going into open access.
Yeah. That would be a great idea.
It depends on how sick I continue to get. Let's put it that way.
But there was some other stuff I wanted to talk about. There's a bunch of stuff in this patch, but specifically about Battlegrounds from this week. You can actually, just by watching any Hearthstone streams on Twitch, as long as the streamer has drops enabled, you can actually get early access. So if you've already set up your account so that you can get things from watching, like the Play Hearthstone, the esports stuff, so you can get card packs from that, then you're already set up and you're good to go. You just have to watch a stream that has drops enabled, which I believe Twitch updated their UI so that you can actually see, when you're looking at, like, the Hearthstone category, which ones have drops enabled. So yeah, just watch a drops enabled stream. Note to streamers, you guys can all just enable drops on your channel, but you do have to go in and do it because it's disabled by default. So again, if you're a streamer, same rules apply in terms of tying your BattleNet count to your Twitch account, but anyone who is streaming can enable Twitch drops, and anyone watching can potentially, from November 5th until November 11th, you guys can actually get early access dropped to you from just watching Hearthstone on Twitch, which is really cool.
Yeah.
There's also sorry, go ahead.
There's also the Battlegrounds Brawl, which I think is what Jocelyn was just about to say.
It was, yeah. I was like, I know that, like, we're both, like, really super sick, you guys. So I know Garrett did a lot of talking about Battlegrounds and how to play them. So I was trying to, help with some heavy lifting instead of sitting here going, is it time for bed yet?
It's fine. Okay. It's fine. They know it's just going to be weird in this episode. It's not going to be the best flow we've ever accomplished on an episode of The Angry Chicken.
So much cold medicine in my head right now. Continue, Garrett.
I got tea out of an adorable little penguin teacup. It's gone now, and Katie's not home yet, so I can't get a refill, and it makes me sad. So this event is going to be running through Thursday, November 21st, in an epic finale. There's $200,000 up for grabs, by the way. This is going to be a Battlegrounds tournament live on the Invitational stage. There's going to be, by the way, teams involved in this and a choose your team mechanic. You can choose your team before November 12th, so you still have some time if you're listening. There's going to be 16 competitors split across 4 teams: the Rust Buckets, Megafins, Rabid Rangers, and Doombringers. How do I get into this? Damn it. I've never actually wanted to be involved in any of these before. I want to be involved in this. Why isn't there an Angry Chicken? Can we get a 5th team on there? I'm going to poke Team 5.
Me and Garrett will be the Angry Chicken Battleground team. I love it.
Actually, we should be called the Leper Gnomes or the Leper Chickens.
Yes.
The Leper Chickens.
Leper Chickens.
Yeah. Anyways, you can only vote for one team, and you will receive a Descent of Dragons card pack just for participating. From November 12th to 19th, your wins in Battlegrounds, 4th place or better, will also count towards the total wins of the team that you have pledged to, so you can help your team out. And if a team reaches 250,000 total wins by the end of this phase, they're going to unlock an additional $25,000 in guaranteed prizing.
That's a lot of money.
That is a lot of money. Do you think they're testing something here for Grandmasters next season? Is this a new way to inject some dough?
What if this ends up being like, because they were talking about different things for next year's esports. What if we end up finally getting the thing we've been talking about, which is a global champion who has to win like a decathlon, but only 3 things. And they have to win like a standard, or 4 things. They have to win a standard tournament. They have to win a wild tournament. They have to win an arena tournament, and they have to win a Battlegrounds tournament. That'd be amazing. Do that, Hearthstone.
Yeah. Do it. That'd be great. Oh, the leaderboard is up, by the way. You can see the top 200 players in Battlegrounds right now based off their rating, if you're curious. It looks like it just went live.
Oh, cool. Yeah, they did say it was going to be a top 1,000. I know I will not be on there because I've already lost like 300 MMR points, so...
I mean, I've only played one game, but I think I may be high enough. I'm totally going through right now just to see. Oh, I see Trixler.
There you go.
I see Trixler on there. I'm someone's just named Discord. I have a feeling it's not Mr. Discord, heir to the Discord fortune.
So yeah, you can watch all the teams compete in the Battleground competition. The broadcast starts on November 21st, and there's going to be 10 rounds of play, each with 2 games happening simultaneously. So this is really cool. And the one thing we didn't actually talk about, and I'm assuming that this is how they're going to do it, you can actually play Battlegrounds with a friend. So Garrett and I can queue in together. So you go into your friends list and say, play Battlegrounds together. And then it'll put you into a queue together. You're still on opposite teams, but you can play with friends. So yeah, really, really fun.
Yeah, I'm when we're not horribly ill, I cannot wait to co-stream this with you.
Yeah, it's going to be tons and tons and tons of fun.
And like, that's such a cool thing, Joss. Like, we've never had a co-op, like anything for Hearthstone short of just beating the snot out of one another. Like,
well, it's kind of not called. Well, I guess there could be a little bit of an advantage. So if you and I queue in together and we're on voice chat, I could say, okay, I'm going to pick Murlocs if you want to pick something else, or vice versa. So then you could, since again, with the whole shared card pool thing, which I didn't realize, then that makes a whole lot more sense. So you and I could, in the end, I guess, manipulate it a little bit, but we still can't, we still have to fight each other, and we still can't choose our opponents. Opponents are, I don't know, randomly assigned ? I'm not sure.
Yeah. We can definitely manipulate it because it's a shared pool. So, or at least hedge our bets. We can increase our chances. Like, if you and I went together, we should never draft the same strategy.
Yes.
Like, ever, under no circumstance. By the way, my rating is 4,178. And by my calculations, I should be appearing in 87th place overall. But I bet there's a games played
requirement
for this.
Probably,
I bet one game doesn't get you on the leaderboard. I would like to also add my BlizzCon win into this, please, and thank you. Anyways, yeah, lots of cool things going on with this. There's also Twitch drops. Oh wait, you already mentioned Twitch drops.
I already mentioned, yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Work from the show notes, Garrett, not the blog post.
If you're watching anyone participate in the Battlegrounds brawl, congratulations. It all counts. So if you're not already in, you have a pretty high chance of getting in.
There's also legendary quests that are going to be available once the open beta happens. So November 12th to 14th, you guys are going to get different quests that are going to show up in your client. So there's a Battle Master quest, and Into the Fray quest, and a Worthy Opponent quest that all basically has to do with get into Battlegrounds and play them. It gives you really cool rewards, actually, because for each quest you complete, you get a card pack from every Year of the Dragon expansion. So you get 3 card packs, one from Descent of Dragons, one for Uldum, and one from Rise of Shadows in each quest that you complete. So
yeah,
rewards on top of rewards on top of rewards for Battlegrounds. Also,
in this patch, streamer mode has finally come to the game, so you're going to be able to censor your battle tag and your opponent's battle tag. So both in matches and at the top of your friends list, which is a feature that has been requested by streamers for a very long time. So it's awesome to see that that's coming in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so all you have to do, and anyone can do this, but it's not actually in your settings anywhere. When you open Hearthstone, you hit Control-Shift-S for streamer mode. Done.
Yep. And then there's a Warcraft anniversary event. We don't know what we're getting yet, but we know when we're getting it.
Yeah, so if you log in and play Hearthstone between November 13th and November 27th, then you're going to get Warcraft theme rewards, but we don't know what that is. So they're just super stoked about the 25th anniversary of Warcraft, as we are. So there were so many anniversaries this year. I mean, 15th of World of Warcraft, 25th of Warcraft itself. Like, man, there was so much that happened this year at BlizzCon. I still don't even know half of it.
What an insane BlizzCon. Like, we were originally planning to have kind of our kick this episode off talking about BlizzCon overall, but there's just too much Hearthstone to talk about, which is insane. Like, I was like, oh yeah, we'll just get an expansion and move on with our lives. But no, whole new game mode and also history being made in Grandmasters. Anyway, speaking of rewards, we now know what the BlizzCon free legendary was, and it's Sathrovar, a new legendary minion for Descent of Dragons. It's a 9-mana 5/5 legendary neutral demon with a battle cry that reads, choose a friendly minion, add a copy of it to your hand, deck, and battlefield. Holy crap.
Yeah, I don't even know where to start with this card. And again, I've been living in the BlizzCon bubble. I'm sure if you guys check competitive HS, the subreddit, then there's probably a ton of these decks that have been theory crafted. And like I said, now it's actually in the game. But since Battlegrounds have gone live, that's what I've been playing. So you guys can go and play with this card right now. Competitive HS probably has some really good ideas, or you guys can go check out HS Replay as well for the new hotness. Search for, you do have the option to search for cards, so you guys can just go and look for decks that include this card. But it seems really powerful. Like 9-mana 5/5, terrible, but this effect is kind of nuts.
Yeah, it's very powerful. It's also important to note it is attached to a 9-mana card, so the chances of pulling off some sweet combo in the same turn out of hand, pretty damn difficult. But Thaurissan is also standard legal at the moment, so you could discount your Sathrovar, probably just to 8, because if anyone has any way to kill that Thaurissan, it gonna die. But
even then, I mean, you could put that just off the top of my head into like Quest Shaman, and then you could double your battle cry and then play this for 8 mana and then have like a billion Shudderwalks.
Yeah, again, battle cry, your Shudderwalk has to survive to the following turn so that you can actually play Sathrovar. And your Sathrovar has to be discounted so that you can actually hero power before you drop the Sathrovar.
Life drinkers, even. I mean, yeah.
All right, that's way more plausible. Significantly more plausible. I like that. Because, like, you got a lot of things to worry about when you're facing down a Quest Shaman right now, and maybe the Life Drinker isn't at the tip top of your list of what I like to call shit to kill.
But yeah, I think there could be potentially a lot of really powerful effects like this, like anything with battle cries, anything with Deathrattle specifically could be awesome, amazing. Not to mention if you're playing in a Zoth deck, then the more death rattles of things you get in your pool, the better. I don't know. I feel like this is probably really good. And yeah, people smarter than me are going to put decks together that make use of this so I can copy them and play them.
Yep.
When I'm done with Battlegrounds, which will be never.
Well, before we get into this week's strategy and deep dive into the new keywords and mechanics coming in Descent of Dragons, we have a sponsor to thank today, and that's MeUndies. They're back. They keep me really comfortable right now. I'm running a little hot, so I'm not rocking the pajama pants. But everyone, I know you were wondering, I am wearing underwear, and it is MeUndies. And it's about the only thing comfortable about my body right now.
See, I was going to say that MeUndies this past week, because I was so sick, and I was not only sick, but I was also sharing a hotel room with Garrett and his wife. So I couldn't just sleep like I normally do without PJs. So I slept in my MeUndies. So they literally covered my butt.
What a way.
Garrett and Katie didn't see my butt.
What a way to say you sleep naked.
Yeah. I mean, who doesn't?
I mean... So I would like to point out, Jocelyn, we had a door and that door locked between rooms because I totally slept nude. Like,
oh, no.
Yeah. Now you know. It would have been so much weirder if I informed you of this.
I slept in my MeUndies.
Gotcha. Well, whatever. There was so much knocking going on, everybody. This is the first time we've all roomed together, and there's just constant knocking on doors of like, hey, everyone good? Good to move between spaces? Okay, cool. Good to know. And MeUndies made that a little bit easier. So thank you for the comfy PJ pants. MeUndies. You should go check them out. They just got the softest underwear around. It's just so damn soft. It's so comfortable. They have all the styles you could ever need or want. You know, if you're particularly particular about your undies like I am, they've got all the kinds of different cuts. If you're a boxer briefs, if you're more of a bikini style, if you're full on boxers, they got you. They've also got pajamas. They've got onesies. They have just pajama t-shirts made out of the same micromodal fabric they make their underwear out of. Super, super soft. And on top of all of this, you can get 15% off your first pair, plus the free shipping they offer, and a 100% satisfaction guarantee when you go to MeUndies.com/TAC. Again, that's MeUndies.com/TAC for 15% off your first pair of MeUndies. We thank them for their support and for keeping our butts comfortable and covered. We thank you for going to MeUndies.com/TAC. So with that in mind, let's descend into Dragons.
Hit it very hard.
Wanna blow something up? Time to pay!
Getting a little ahead of myself there with the image overlay if you're watching on video, but let's get to this week's strategy, which is diving deep into Descent of Dragons. We're descending into Descent of Dragons, spelunking into the Descent of Dragons, even though it's in... Can you spelunk the sky? Is that something you can do?
No.
Okay.
Splunking is cave diving.
I'm aware, but like the act of spelunk... Whatever. What if Deathwing erupts out of a mountain and part of that mountain flies through the air and is an intact cave, and as you're spelunking that cave in the air, am I then spelunking the sky? I would argue yes.
You're reaching.
I found a way to get there. If I'm reaching, I'm on brand for Hearthstone, and that's good enough for me. Anyways, let's get right into it with the new keyword of the expansion, Invoke. And also, let's get into it with talking about Galakrond, because Galakrond is tied to this Invoke keyword. So basically, if you play a card with Invoke on it, it triggers Galakrond's hero power and also adds to the counter, upgrading Galakrond.
Anytime you play a card that says Invoke Galakrond, then you trigger the hero power regardless of where Galakrond is. So he doesn't have to be in your hand. He has to be in your deck, but he doesn't have to be in your hand or anything like that. So you trigger his hero power wherever you are, which is something we're going to have to keep in mind when we're talking about any minions or spells with the Invoke keyword. Because not only do they have the effect on them, but if they say Invoke Galakrond, then you're also going to add a random priest minion to your hand, or add a lackey to your hand, or any of the other things that Galakrond does. So there's that additional, I guess, added effect to all of these cards. So I know I, for one, am probably going to forget all the time, but it does trigger the hero power as well as upgrades Galakrond. So each time you every other time you invoke, Galakrond will upgrade. Again, very, very Cthulhu, whether he's in your hand or in your deck, he will upgrade. And you get a different effect as he moves through his different phases. So each of the evil classes, so warrior, warlock, priest, shaman, who am I forgetting?
This is a hell of an episode.
Rogue.
There it is. It's one of the Galakronds that have been revealed.
Yes, each of them starts with a different name. So they are Galakrond blank. So there's the Nightmare, the Wretched, the Unspeakable, and 2 that we haven't seen yet. But once they get upgraded to their second form, they are all called Galakrond the Apocalypse, and the final form is Galakrond Azeroth's End. So only the first card of the 3 iterations has a unique name. After that, they're all called the same thing as you upgrade them. So the battle cry is the part of Galakrond that gets upgraded. He always gives you 5 armor, always has the same hero power, which depends on the original iteration. And then, his battle cry goes up. So you get, by the time you get to Azeroth's End, he's super powerful. So he also, on top of his battle cry upgrading, he also gets a 5/2 weapon. And the 5/2 weapon, I believe, happens regardless of which class it is. So he's just a really powerful card if you can invoke him enough times.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm with you. It's very Cthulhu, but definitely a new spin on that kind of like acolyte and what they're worshiping sort of mechanic. Mm-hmm. There's also a new mechanic in side quests. A new kind of mini quest. These are not legendaries. The only one we've seen so far is a hunter side quest called Toxic Reinforcements. It's epic rarity. It's going to cost you 1 mana. That does, however, mean you can put 2 in your deck.
You can, yep.
And then it reads side quest. Use your hero power 3 times. Reward. Summon 3 Garrett and Jocelyn's. Sorry, 1/1 leper gnomes.
Exactly. So side quests are really interesting because you can equip them at the same time as you have a legendary quest equipped. So they are kind of extra things you can do. They're not tied to hero powers like the other quests have been. So they are designed to impact the board, but not be kind of game changing necessarily. It's like a small thing to do. They're easy to complete. They impact the board the turn you complete them, but they're not like changing your hero power or doing anything big and crazy. So just kind of a new way to play.
Yeah. And we should have mentioned this during Galakrond, but lots of free Galakronds coming our way.
Yes, in fact, all of them. In fact,
all of the Galakronds, all 5 versions of it. If you log into Hearthstone anytime within the first 90 days, you've got a 3-month window on this. After the launch of Descent of Dragons, we are going to receive all 5 Galakrond cards.
Yeah, so these are legendary hero cards that we will be getting for free. So that's pretty crazy. We should also mention that all 5 Galakrond cards for the evil or members of the League of Evil, those 5 classes are actually getting 3 legendaries this expansion instead of just 2. So there will still be 2 legendaries available. It also looks like each class is getting a legendary dragon. So we've seen a couple of those so far, but we haven't seen all of them yet. And we're going to talk about all of the cards that we've seen so far on next week's episode because, there was just so much to talk about today, guys. If we did card reviews too, we'd never get through them. So, you get each class will have a legendary dragon. Each evil class will get a Galakrond, and then so they'll have Galakrond, legendary dragon, and another legendary as well. So, and we get all the Galakronds for free, which is crazy.
Yeah, it is. And now it's also makes sense that this is like a 3rd legendary in those classes because otherwise it would like drastically reduce how many packs we would probably have to buy to actually complete the whole set. So from a business standpoint, Makes sense. Also, it's rad that we're getting that many damn legendaries in 5 classes. I think it's cool.
It gives you a chance to basically try the new keyword and the new mechanics and stuff without having to have or craft 5 different legendaries. So you can now, it's not random like it has been in the past. You get all 5 Galakrond cards. So if you want to start with rogue or priest or whatever, you have that choice. So it's a really cool idea.
Yeah, I mean, we still hear from listeners, and I agree with them, that Cthulhu was kind of the standout event that really made new and budget players and free-to-play players feel like they had a big leg up, like to start playing in the current meta. And I really look at Galakrond, and this is taking that entire concept and really cranking it up to whatever number past 10 makes a legendary ancient evil dragon happy. I'm going to go with 666.
13 maybe? Oh, yeah, 666. That works too. Yeah.
And then finally, we haven't even talked about the launch date for Descent of Dragons. It's coming out December 10th, so we still have some time. Yeah, I thought maybe it'd be coming a little sooner. Hearthstone announcements and expansion releases at BlizzCon have been pretty close in the past, but they've been getting further and further away from, I think it was League of Explorers, like launched the following week. When they announced that, like we're getting further and further away. This makes sense.
Still, it's like a month away. It's not too far. And so we're going to start seeing some community card reveals starting on November 21st. So we're kind of going to go from card reveals straight into expansion, it seems like, and I'm looking forward to it. So it'll be a fun time.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Now, before we get into a partial card review, we're mostly going to do a deep dive into the versions of Galakrond we've seen so far and the invoke cards that go with those versions of Galakrond. Since we're not getting into card reveals until November 21st, we'll spread out what was revealed at BlizzCon over the next couple of weeks.
Because it was actually the most cards we've ever seen revealed at a BlizzCon. I think there was 33 cards altogether.
Yes, and
that's a big dump.
I love it. That's great. Especially if there's also now as a content creator, this works really well for me, and that's all that matters. As long as it's good for me.
Obviously,
there's now enough time where we can kind of spread it out over a couple of weeks and look at the cards specifically before we get to reveal season, and not do a 5-hour episode talking about 30 cards, a new mode. History being made in Hearthstone esports, so on and so forth. But before we get into the deep dive into these cards, we have one more sponsor to thank, and it is Away Luggage, which is a perfect week for them to have booked. And sometimes sponsor reads get booked out really, really far in advance. So I promise it wasn't planned this way. But seeing as Jocelyn, you and I just traveled, I saw you cramming a stupid amount of Blizzard swag into your Away luggage, and you have the carry-on, like not even the bigger carry-on,
you have the bigger one,
the smallest roller luggage they sell. And you were like cramming an orc statue in there, plus clothes, plus an ugly Arthas sweater, which isn't actually ugly. It's beautiful, and I want it.
It is not. It's amazing, and I thought it was just going to be printed on a sweater, but it's not. It's actually knit. It's gorgeous. I love it.
Yeah. Away Luggage, if you haven't looked them up, go to awaytravel.com/TAC20 and take a look around, and then when you find what you're looking for, use the checkout code TAC20, get $20 off your order. It's pretty simple, but go check them out because it's seriously one of the nicest things I've ever owned. Like we've talked about this before my Away Luggage is just bad hand-me-downs in paisley print with a broken handle. Like, so you couldn't load it up too much, even if you could fit that much stuff in it, because the damn handle is broken and it's got a bum wheel. And also, he had 2 wheels. My Away Luggage, it's got 4 wheels. They spin 360 degrees, Jocelyn. I can do that thing where you wheel it standing completely straight up, so you can take your extremely heavy gaming laptop and slide it down on top of the bar, and it just holds all of it and supports the weight really well, and you're not stressing yourself out in the airport. It's also got an optional, if you get the carry-on luggage, ejectable battery, which can charge your iPhone or your tablet multiple times, so you don't need to rub knees, which, as I mentioned it, oh my God, I had the worst just spreader, this dude, and he was a lot of body hair, just rubbing knees with me the whole ride back, hogging the armrest. I'm middle seat, okay? Middle seat gets the armrest. We have a social contract. We live in a society, people. Eventually, I won it, by the way. I won that war. I went to war with that armrest, and I won. but it took a while, and it was a lot of uncomfortable touching. But at least I didn't have to sit next to this guy to charge my phone before the flight, because I just popped the top on my luggage, plugged in, kept playing Hearthstone, had a great time. It was wonderful. So you should go check him out.
The big thing for me this time around that I haven't really had to do before is because I had so much stuff, I actually had to check my away luggage. So for me, the fact that it has the TSA combination lock and you can't move the zippers and stuff, I felt so much better about actually checking my luggage, because I was like, well, I can check my away luggage and not have it explode when they throw it around. And I don't have to worry about anything that's inside it, because I know that it's going to be protected and safe because it's a hard-sided carry-on. So, I mean, yeah, I was feeling so great about checking my luggage. I actually didn't have to worry about it. And normally I only carry on because I'm so worried about what's going to happen to my luggage underneath the plane. But with the away stuff, I was just like, this will be fine. Take it.
Yep. Toss it around. I don't care. So go check them out. They've also got a built-in compression pad, free shipping to the lower 48 states, a 100-day trial. You can travel with it. Just try it out, see how you like it, and a lifetime warranty. On top of all this, as I mentioned, $20 off a suitcase when you visit awaytravel.com/TAC20 and use the promo code TAC20 during checkout. And now let's actually dive in to these Galakronds, all the Galakronds that we were kind of talking about earlier, and any invoke cards that were revealed. But we're going to start with Priests, which didn't actually have their invoke cards revealed, just what happens if you successfully invoke Galakrond. In total 4 times. Because the first version, which is for Priests called Galakrond the Unspeakable, is going to cost you 7 mana to turn into Galakrond. Going to give you that 5 armor as usual. But the battle cry is destroy 1 random enemy minion, and then you can invoke twice to upgrade. Now, before we move on to the upgrades, the hero power that you're also going to get from Galakrond, guaranteed, is going to cost you 2 mana to cast it. It's called Galakrond's Wit. Apparently, Priest Galakrond is a witty dragon.
He's very smart.
Yeah. And it adds a random Priest minion to your hand. So 2 mana, card generation for Priest. It's also targeted generation. You're not going to get a spell. You know you're going to get a minion. You know it's going to be from the Priest pool. So that's cool. Didn't mean to rhyme there. And keep that in the back of your mind as we talk about what upgrades. Because what upgrades is the battle cry for Galakrond. So if you invoke Galakrond the Unspeakable twice, Galakrond becomes Galakrond the Apocalypse. And again, the 2 upgraded versions of the same name for all classes. However, for Priest, the battle cry becomes destroy 2 random enemy minions. And then if you invoke 2 more times, you get the final form, Galakrond Azeroth's End. Battle cry is destroy 4 random enemy minions. You are now doubling your random enemy minion destruction, and you are equipping that 5/2 claw that we mentioned previously. All of the final Galakronds get.
And all of the art kind of upgrades as you go as well. And each class has different art when it comes to their Galakrond. So I think Galakrond the Unspeakable, this priest version, I'm super sold on the battle cry, not so sold necessarily on the hero power, just because I don't feel like priest minions are the strongest of all the minions, but it's kind of nice that it's like targeted. So if you build somehow build a priest deck that is minion centric, then I mean, maybe this would be good. I don't know if it's enough to move them away from combo-y stuff, but could still be cool.
Yeah, it's hard to look at this and say, oh yeah, new meta here in the current meta. Because I've only seen 30 cards. Most cards we've ever seen at a BlizzCon reveal, so that's rad.
Yeah, but Galakrond is the only thing that was revealed for Priest.
Exactly. So who knows? There may be something else. I don't know how you would synergize Priest minion generation, but they may surprise us. Had to cough.
Sorry.
Apologize. So let's move right in and talk about the Rogue Galakrond, because we did actually see invoke cards for the Rogue. So this is going to get a little more interesting and a little more meaty than Priest. So the first version of Galakrond for Rogue is called Galakrond the Nightmare. Going to cost 7 mana, give you 5 armor, just like the other Galakronds. The battle cry, the starting battle cry, before you invoke, is draw 1 card. It costs 0. Invoke twice to upgrade. The hero power the Rogue Galakrond is going to give you is called Galakrond's Guile. Costs 2 mana to cast, and it adds a lackey to your hand. I'm already into this. I might just run Galakrond the Nightmare and not even invoke. I just want to generate lackeys. I don't care if I'm doing it post turn 7.
And it's now that we're talking about it, I'm going to have to double check because I thought it was that you get your, like when you invoke Galakrond, his hero power goes off. But I am 99% sure in the video that they showed at BlizzCon, it showed them drawing 1 card and it costing 0. So I wonder if you actually, when you invoke, you get the battle cry instead. I don't know. I'll have to go back and watch that video and double check. But invoke cards definitely have stuff. You know what? I'm going to check right now, Garrett. You can keep talking. I'm going to go check.
Okay. Well, in the meantime, if you invoke twice, Galakrond becomes Galakrond the Apocalypse. Same name for everyone once you start upgrading your Galakrond. Also, all the Galakronds, the cost and the armor doesn't change. The Battlecry upgrades is now draw 2 cards. They cost 0. And if you invoke 2 more times, you get Galakrond Azeroth's End. The Battlecry is now draw 4 cards. They cost 0. And you equip that 5/2 claw. So have you found the video?
Okay, so the website definitely says... Okay, it does. It is the hero power. Okay. So you trigger Galakrond's hero power and empower Galakrond himself. So it's definitely the hero power.
So when we play Umbral Skulker, one of the cards revealed for Rogue, it's a 4 mana 3/3 epic rogue minion with a battle cry that reads, it's if you're invoked. A bad example.
Yes.
Garrett. Seal Fate is a better example. It's a 3 mana rare rogue spell that reads, deal 3 damage to an undamaged character, invoke Galakrond. So if I play Seal Fate, I'm dealing 3 damage to an undamaged character, and I'm drawing 1 card, and that card costs 0?
No. You are dealing 3 damage to an undamaged character and adding a lackey to your hand.
Oh, adding it. What did I see? Oh, the battle cry.
Yes. So it is definitely the hero power that you get when you invoke. So for Praise Galakrond, you give a minion +1 attack and add a lackey to your hand. So basically for Rogue, you can kind of read the cards as do 1 thing and add a lackey to your hand.
These cards are gross. They
seem pretty good. Like, especially, I mean, obviously Rogue, we're thinking combo things, and lackeys are great for, well, lackeys themselves are just powerful, but lackeys are also great for helping you out with combo mechanics and activating combos. So, but yeah, the Umbral Skulker that you mentioned, the 4 mana 3/3, this is more along the lines of like Twin Emperor. If you guys remember Cthulhu mechanics, where it was like, if your Cthulhu had X amount of attack, then do a thing. This is if you've invoked twice, then you do a thing. So really powerful effects, but do require you to have done some build up ahead of time. So
yeah, so I like Seal Fate better than Praise Galakrond. Like we are paying for that invoke trigger here. Like for Seal Fate, dealing 3 damage to an undamaged character, we have backstab. It's 2 damage to an undamaged character for 0 mana. Now we're paying 3 for 1 more damage and a lackey, essentially, because that's you're triggering Guile. You're getting that lackey. So is it worth it? Well, it is overcosted essentially because of where lackey value falls, but lackey is still worth something. And I like Seal Fate better than Praise Galakrond because Seal Fate does something without me needing to meet any other conditions. Praise Galakrond is only good if I have a minion on board. Now, granted, it's 1 mana. But Umbral Skulker, getting 3 coins as Rogue, that makes me look at Praise Galakrond and go, maybe I actually want to try and make you work. Because Umbral Skulker is only 4 mana, and playing a 3/3 on 4 on curve and not getting 3 coins isn't great, but playing a 4 mana 3/3 on curve and getting 3 coins is amazing.
Yeah, not to mention, I do think that Rogue is one where you're going to want to invoke Galakrond as much as you possibly can. And there are some neutral invoke cards too that I didn't throw in the show notes because I knew this was going to be the longest show of all long shows. But so Rogue specifically, drawing cards and having them be free, like you're going to want, not to mention you also get a weapon out of this, right? So you 100%, I think, want to invoke Galakrond as many times as you can as Rogue to get him online at his top end power as fast as you can. So I like Galakrond a lot, I think, in Rogue, and I think you should be praising him and invoking him because there's some powerful cards that go along with that.
Yeah, I'm sold on Rogue Galakrond. I remain skeptical of Priest Galakrond.
I am skeptical of the next one that we have to talk about, which is Galakrond the Wretched, which is the Warlock Galakrond, because random demons historically have not been amazeballs. And then on top of that, Galakrond's hero power could probably play into some sort of a like a zoo style Warlock deck, because the hero power Galakrond's Malice is summoning 2 1/1 imps for 2 mana. So something that has, demon synergy / like board buffing, like Grim Rally type effects. Sure, maybe, but I don't know.
It's hard with Warlock. When would you ever want to do anything other than draw cards? So yeah,
exactly.
Galakrond the Wretched. You mentioned random demons, but we didn't specify. The Battleground Galakrond the Wretched, which is a Warlock Galakrond, is summon 1 random demon for the starter version of Galakrond. If you invoke twice, you move up to the Warlock version of Galakrond the Apocalypse. The Battlecry has now summoned 2 demons. If you invoke 2 more times, you guessed it, that Battlecry doubles in power and now summons 4 random demons and gives you that 5/2 weapon, the claw, as they're referring to it as. And I am with you, unless we're getting some really sick demons this expansion, and it's worth rolling the bones to see if we can like randomly summon some of them for free. Because, a 5/2 weapon, that's worth something. That's worth something, if you can invoke all 4 times to get the final version. And free demons on board. And a lot of times the downside on demons is usually attached to a battle cry. So if you're just summoning them to the board, you're getting around that. So that is also worth pointing out. You're not going to be like losing health or anything off of a demon battle cry if you're summoning them. But yeah, the hero power, I need to know more, because summoning 2 1/1 imps after like playing my game around invoking my Galakrond, well, I guess you don't have to get your hero power, but whatever. Like, that's just not that exciting. And even when I do invoke summoning 2 1/1 imps, I mean, I guess that's actually more exciting than getting Galakrond played. Invoking,
I was going to say, because invoking him, the Warlock invoke cards are actually not terrible. The Dragonblight Cultist, which is a 3 mana 1/1, which sounds terrible, has a battle cry, and the invoke Galakrond effect comes first, which means you're going to get to summon 2 1/1 imps. So your Dragonblight Cultist is going to be at least it's just attack. I thought it was attack and health. I was going to say,
and you should mention what the battle cry does. So you invoke Galakrond, you gain...
I was getting there.
Okay, you gain +1. Well, you were going to at least, and you were going to read stats. I'm like, well, the effect is gain +1 attack for each other friendly minion.
Right, so you gain at least 2 attack because you're going to get the imps first. So your invoke goes off, you get the 2 imps from the hero power, so you're going to at least get, and this is why I thought it was going to be more powerful than it actually is, reading the card back again, is because I thought it was +1 attack and health. So I thought you were getting a 3/3 for 3, at least +2 1/1s, but you're not. You're getting 2 1/1s, a 3/1. Yeah, not as good as I originally thought.
Yeah, bad in a vacuum. There could always be something coming down the line, or a combo we're not seeing that could make Dragonblight Cultist good. But like Dragonblight Cultist by itself, like turn 3, like there's a handful of hero powers that just deal with this problem right away.
Yeah.
Let alone anything else. So,
and Fiendish Rites is written in the same way, the 3 mana spell. So again, your invoke is happening first, which means you're getting the hero power imps first. So you invoke Galakrond and then give your minions +1 attack. That still makes these two, they're 2/1 imps instead of 1/1 imps, basically, for 3 mana. But you are invoking Galakrond, so you are upgrading your hero to play later. If you're playing some sort of a zoo-style board-centric deck, this might work out in your favor. Invoking Galakrond, giving your board that little bit of attack buff. Maybe you're going to be trading in and making use of the board a little bit more efficiently. might let you trade up instead of just doing a 1-for-1 or something. I don't know, but Fiendish Rites is a solid maybe, I think, for me.
I agree. I think there's a world where you would put Galakrond in your deck, you'd put Fiendish Rites in your deck. I think Cultist is bad at the moment. At the moment, I think Dragonblight Cultist is bad. So I'm looking at, I'm doing the Zoo deck. I'm putting Galakrond in. I'm putting Fiendish Rites in because this is just a card that kind of works pretty well with Zoo and also helps me do Zoo things because when I invoke, I'm going to get 2/1/1s that are then going to be 2/2/1s because of Fiendish Rites effect. And then who cares about your hero power being kind of lame after you Galakrond? You now have 10 damage across 2 turns because of the 5/2 weapon if you've actually invoked enough times. Although we'll talk about neutral invoke later, so it's still possible even if maybe Dragonblight Cultist is as not good as I kind of think it is. There's other options.
Yeah, and you also talked about how when you get Galakrond and you end up with the Malice hero power instead of Warlock's normally drawing cards hero power, that's when something like Veiled Worshipper comes in because you still get the invoked effect. Oh my god, I have to sneeze. I'm sorry.
It happens. It happens. I have muted so many coughs this show. Yeah. Veiled Worshipper.
So you still get the invoked effect even if you've already played your Galakrond, which means you can hang on to your Worshipper, and after you've played Galakrond,
what is a Worshipper?
You get to draw. So it's 4 mana, 5/4 battle cry. If you've invoked twice, you draw 3 cards. So you could still get card draw even after you have switched over your hero power.
This is the sickest episode of The Angry Chicken I have ever been a part of.
I know, it's totally the best, right?
I'm sorry for our flow, y'all.
Kind of sick.
We are in such a bad way.
We're almost there, Gay. I almost got your name wrong.
Just call me Gay. There, Garrett. Is this the 90s?
We're almost there, Garrett. We're almost there.
Oh, all right. Yeah, so Veiled Worshipper would help with that. Now, granted, you would need Veiled Worshipper to draw those cards as opposed to your hero power, which is just always gets to, spend 2 life, draw your card, which is just better than dependent draw. Like what I did there? Yeah. But you're right. I like Fiendish Rites, and I like invoking out 2/1/1 imps more than I like, getting a hero power that does that. Actually, I don't like that at all. I wish I could just opt out of it. But I think there's something here, is what I'm saying. There's hope for this. Right now, I am maximum skeptical for Priest Galakrond. And I think a lot of that probably comes down to the fact we haven't seen the invoke cards for Priest yet.
Specific to Priest, yeah.
Again, I just don't see how you're going to get synergy, like guaranteed synergy, off of adding a random Priest minion to your hand.
Yeah, I think the best one so far that we've seen is Galakrond the Nightmare, the Rogue version. Drawing cards and them costing 0 is just so powerful in Rogue. There's so many ways they can make use of those. There's, higher cost cards that could potentially be free. They're combo enabling. I mean, play a whole bunch of them and then have a super powered Van Cleef too. Like I feel like there's a lot going on in Rogue with the Galakrond hero. I'm not sold on the other 2 that we've seen so far, but it's really going to depend on a lot of the neutral stuff and the class specific invoke cards that we're going to see in the coming weeks.
Yeah, absolutely. And that brings us to an end of this episode of The Angry Chicken. So
thankfully,
yeah, I need to go slumber for 1,000 years.
Yeah,
before I am awakened. But thank you all for listening, and thank you for bearing with us. We know it was a little rougher on the probably the sound quality of our voices, and definitely the flow, because we were tripping all over each other like we've never podcasted before, but our brains hurt, and so does everything else in my body. So
plus there's all those random mute buttons. It's like I'm expecting you to keep talking, and it's like, oh no, he's coughing. Crap. Nope. Uh-oh.
He's dying on the inside and on the out. But before we end, I just want to give a quick shout out to the Hearthstone community team and the PR team, because they really helped us out this year. And I had to bother them more than usual because I had a tech issue with my press pass, where they had a scanner this year, which they've never had years before, and it wasn't working. And so I had to bother them constantly to try to get that fixed.
You talked about this already.
Yeah, I'm aware, but I didn't get into specifics. Which is what I'm doing now. So huge thanks to the community and the PR team for going out of their way multiple times to deal with the squeaky wheel of BlizzCon, which was Garrett and his media pass. So I really appreciate it. And also thanks for setting up our interview with Celestalon and with Dave Kosak. I really appreciate it. That was fun. It was fun talking to them again. I'm sure they will return to the Angry Chicken at a later date. They're like James Bond at the end of the credits. They will return. So, and also thank you to our patrons for supporting us. If you ain't like the Angry Chicken, even on weeks where we're hacking up a lung and struggling, head on over to patreon.com/TAC to support the show. Huge thanks to our producers, by the way, Declan H., Sean C., and Cheesy Bob. You can find the whole back catalog of episodes where we probably sound better and flow with much more efficiency over at amove.tv or youtube.com/amovetv. We're typically live Tuesdays at 4 p.m. Eastern Time on twitch.tv/amovetv. We didn't do that this week, so we can maybe go back and edit out some of this coughing. I probably won't do that because all I want to do is lay down right now. So enjoy. Joss, where can you be found?
You can find me on Twitter and Twitch. I'm at Joss Plays. Also, if you'd like to support Extra Life, I will be streaming this coming Saturday. Hopefully, assuming I am over all of this grossness, I will be streaming on Saturday. The link to the Extra Life campaign can be found in our show notes, and our show notes are at amove.tv. We had a lot of people asking for deck lists and stuff last week. Show notes are always at amove.tv. Just find the most recent blog post, scroll down, and you can find all the information there, including the link to Extra Life, which is the charity drive we do every year that benefits the Children's Miracle Network of Hospitals. I'm done.
Garrett Art on Twitter, amove.tv. Blizzard things everywhere. I want to go to sleep. Thank you all for listening. We will be back, hopefully, feeling way better. But until next time, job's done.
Job's done.